Kat Kuczynska is building a community on Skool for parents of autistic children who are looking for solutions.
The purpose of the community is essentially to document the mad journey that I've put myself on, which is essentially looking for, I'm not going to say cure to autism, but I'm going to say a treatment for side effects of autism.
In this interview, we talk about how to use an online community as a research hub and the importance of starting messy. Kat, really excited to talk to you today. You're building a really unique style of community that I think I haven't personally seen happening on Skool yet. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about what your community is about and why you're building it.
So the purpose of the community is essentially to document the mad journey that I've put myself on, which is essentially looking for, I'm not going to say cure to autism, but I'm going to say a treatment for side effects of autism. And in general, there are two schools of thought. There are people that believe that we should just unequivocally accept people and that there is nothing we can do. And then there is other people that think that there is more to this story. And I'm very much in the camp of there is more to this story. So after spending thousands and thousands of pounds on all sorts of different medical tests for our boy, he is classed as autistic child, but we also know that he's been exposed to high levels of mold since he's been a baby. He's got an abnormal DNA methylation profile, which basically means that he can't effectively absorb B vitamins, zinc, magnesium, the type of stuff that you need for proper functioning of your immune system, for example, and the brain. And he's got the markers of the brain inflammation. So for some reason, his brain-blood barrier has been crossed. And there are quiet inflammatory processes that are going on in his brain. And as I've been going on this crazy journey, no doctor can tell me at what point the symptoms that I'm seeing are autism and at what point it's brain inflammation. And I have reached to parents, doctors, clinics on the other side of the world. And there is a lot of people that say that they have reversed their kids' autism. Now, if it is true that autism cannot be reversed, then are all these people charlatans? And I fundamentally don't believe that. I actually, after reading like hundreds of research papers, I actually think that there is a difference between autism as in the different way of processing world and seeing the world, and autism as in this litany of side effects that we see that quite often plague autistic people, whether it's emotional outbursts, the sensory struggles, an inability to tolerate noise, and just the list just goes on and on and on. So I'm creating a group to bring parents together that are on similar journey to me of looking for answers for their kids, and the parents that are not willing to give up and accept that there is nothing we can do for our kids.
And why did you decide to do it on Skool?
So I came across Skool, and part of the reason why I was quite drawn to it is I really do like the community aspect of it. And I think that currently on most of the social media platforms, the groups just became these pits of spam promotion and just quite often as well, like Facebook will not like certain posts and they will shadow ban it and things like that. And I suppose it was just a community that I came across. The energy, if you like, of it was completely different. And I loved the fact that everything is just in one roof, because I'm doing this, I'm building this as a side of another podcast that I've got. I didn't really want to start with, building your website and starting the email list and this whole litany of steps that you would normally need to take to even launch something into the world. And the fact that everything in Skool is under one umbrella means that you can start imperfectly and just get going with it. But the tools are all there to build it without having to like remortgage your house to be able to afford to do that for the next 6 months. So
Right.
it was um it was few things, I suppose, at the same time, just different style of the community that people are seemingly able to build over here, but then also just the convenience of all the tools in one place.
Right. And I think like it's something about being able to adapt on the fly and try different things. Is there seems to be a lot of experimentation that's happening on the platform right now, which is one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, is because it seems like what you're doing is not really something that is very conventional, like building a course and selling courses and this kind of thing. Like it seems very much like you're building like this research project and this network of other people who are on the same journey. um, Maybe you can talk a little bit about what kind of how the structure of your community is working, like some ideas that you have for the future of your
Mhm.
community.
Okay, so the structure, for example, I mean, I'll give you just really quick example. There is this, it's a drug, but it's not really drug. It's more like a vitamin, but it is on prescription. And there is ton of research to show that a lot of autistic children benefit from being on that drug, but it's not available in the UK.
Okay.
In the States, very recently, Trump administration actually said that that drug is to be made available to all autistic children. But in the UK, you can't access that. It's an off-label drug. Now, I did try to emotionally blackmail my GP into prescribing me that drug, but that didn't work. So a parent that joined from Germany that has been doing a lot of research for her child as well. She joined our community. I've been helping her with a few sort of treatments that we are doing with our boy around the red light therapy. And she basically gave me this pharmacy in France that is selling this drug quite cheaply because you can't get it, you can't buy it, but it costs like 300 euros for 30 tablets.
Mm,
But there are places in France, for example, that you can just buy it for 10 euros. So she just gave me this link because this is already something that she's been doing. So my idea of bringing all the parents together is because there will be other parents out there in the world that are doing exactly what I'm doing.
mm,
And they've already tried other things that I haven't tried yet. And we can together shortcut our
wow.
own journeys. So I've already been like 2 years deep into this research journey, if you like, spent thousands of pounds already on different medical tests. And there are some of them that have been waste of time, but some of them have been just absolute life changing. So if I can shortcut that journey for some other parents and then um, bring together, for example, some of the doctors that I'm currently paying like thousands of pounds for as well to work with, then my idea is to sort of almost create this hub where once I monetize it, I want to start bringing, the doctors that are working with autistic children on daily basis. So then they can actually start giving some advice on what people can do in the comfort of their home to help their kid.
Mm,
So that's one of the things that I want to start introducing once this is monetized. Another thing that I keep playing with in my head currently is the logistics of it seem quite complicated, but I think I will be able to pull it off. Some of these tests that I've done for William and some of these tests that are actually very, very valuable are expensive. Nothing is done on like, the National Health Service. the National Health Services are usually not really interested in the cutting edge of the science. So what I'm hoping to be able to do is take part of the proceeds that this community will be generating one day and create like a pod that the members would be able to apply to, so that that pod will be able to pay for some of the tests that they might need doing. So don't get me wrong, from the logistics point of view, it will take some organization to make sure that I'm not paying for, someone's, I don't know, holiday to Jamaica.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a really easy way for me to do that, where, we have a draw basically between the paying members, for example, that at the end of the month there is a draw and a couple of people like win either complete sponsorship of the tests that they want doing, or at least some partial help towards them getting paid for the tests that their kids might need.
This is really exciting stuff that you're doing here. And also it seems like there might be a lot of risk involved as well. So what really interests me about this is that it's like you're creating this way of advancing knowledge in a way, like advancing knowledge, advancing people's access to knowledge, and potentially even creating almost like a mini health service within the community as well.
Yeah. It would be essentially a little bit like, this is something that I haven't really like figured out exactly how I would do it, but it only feels right. Like, I'm relatively lucky in terms of I've worked hard up to this point, and I can, for example, afford to remortgage my house to take our kid to States to the clinic that is going to cost us £30,000. But some people are not going to be able to do that. So if I can then give them something within that community that will mean that they will have the access to exactly the same technologies that I'm paying 30 grand to go to the States to, then isn't it worth doing? Absolutely. Now, I have got no idea how this is going to look next year, because I will be very much taking the direction of the founding members to help me build something that they actually want to see as well. Just from the early conversations that I had with people, these two sort of trails of thoughts, they had very, very, very good reception too. So it seems that the two things that I've already just discussed, bringing the specialists that are working on that cutting edge ground of autism research, and then creating that fund where, people will be able to apply to have some of the tests, for example, paid for. People were very, very receptive to it. So I would like to sort of make these two the very first things on the list, but it is definitely going to process as it's going to evolve as we go. And right now I'm documenting everything, but I'm already starting to record like a course library of knowledge, I suppose, where I would be going into quite a sort of deep level. And I want to do it in few stages as well. So I want to do like a video which is just the basics that you need to know, and then for the really nerdy people, the more in-depth reason for why we are doing what we are doing in this treatment, for example, or in this therapy. And for example, like, what type of red light frequencies you need on which part of the head for how many minutes, and what the research says about it. So that's basically what I'm doing. So yeah, it is a little bit different, I suppose. And it is quite exciting that you can very much pivot on the spot and just take your community in a completely different direction, if people want to see something different. So yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of I mean, risk. I suppose there is risk with everything that we do. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. If I can help another 5 kids have a better life, a healthier life, a life that isn't going to be dictated by the emotions that they can't handle, that would be worthwhile.
So there's a couple things here that I'd like to kind of dig into a bit more. I think one of them is about that kind of messy action of just starting the community and letting the founding members kind of really have a big role in terms of shaping the direction. I think for people who are listening to this who are maybe not sure what their community should be for or like how they're going to build it, having those founding members really help shape the direction seems very smart to me, and really what community is for. How have you been communicating with these founding members? Are there specific people that you're having frequent conversations in the DMs with? Are you doing video calls in your community? Like, how are those relationships being built right now?
So I tend to do a lot of direct message communication with them initially. So at the very beginning, for example, I had members that were joining, and these were schooler outsiders. So what I found, for example, that initially it takes them a little while to actually start logging into the community to sort of get the engagement going.
Yeah.
So because the community is still small but growing, I had to figure out essentially a way of communicating with people, so I'm not waiting for the community to be like 100 members strong before I actually start doing things.
Yeah.
And the one thing for people that might be thinking, oh, I need to have it all figured out, I am an absolute perfectionist, which it is bane of my life. And every cell of my body was telling me not to do it and not to launch it because I had nothing to launch. But then it was actually listening to Sam, I think, that that he found it really good to actually build things for the community. And then it did dawned on me at some point that I'm either building something for me or I'm building something for other people. And if I'm building something for other people as well, then there needs to be people involved, not just me. So even though I did have that, oh, you're not ready, you haven't got anything sorted, this is not going to be pretty, all of the usual excuses that perfectionists are going to throw at themselves, I had the same. And I launched it anyway. And to be honest with you, it's not perfect. A lot of these videos that are currently on the community is like literally me in the gym jams at 10 o'clock at night after I wrestled the kids to bed. It is not sleek. It is not polished. It's just me sharing knowledge in the evening about the new gadget that I just ordered from America that seems to be actually making Williams stimming less. And another thing as well that I had in my mind was, well, right now I'm sharing something, but I haven't yet reached, let's say, oh, I can't be teaching people about making money because I haven't made $1 million yet. Like
Right.
my kid has still got autistic symptoms, but I've managed to fix few of them. So I've managed to like get rid of some of them. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is documenting what I'm doing. And I'm trying to be very, very conscious of making a distinction of what I think is happening in terms of like what I think this research might mean and what I've already done and what worked for me and what might work for you. Whilst at the same time, making it very, very clear to people that I am not a doctor.
Right.
So nothing that I'm doing is medical advice. And I want people to actually find a private doctor. It will have to be a private doctor, unfortunately, that they will be able to dig into their brain a little bit deeper to actually figure out a little bit more about their kid, because there will be things that I won't be able to help them with, but I will be able to point them in the right direction, show them the right research, and hopefully actually bring some of these doctors into the community where, you know, twice in a month there will be an hour or an hour and a half where these doctors are on the call taking questions, being able to show people the research or explain what it is that they need to start doing with their kids to start seeing some improvements.
Right.
So I'm not here in this community as a pinnacle of knowledge and a guru. I'm a very much a facilitator, I suppose, and trying to just connect dots and connect people together that will be able to create something good for their kids.
I love that. It's and this also like goes to this question of risk that is still on my mind, because you're in this like medical space, and I imagine that there will be people posting ideas that they have, and like the seems like the point of it, a big part of the point of it, is to be posting new ideas, cutting edge ideas, ideas that maybe have not been vetted, at least in the kind of traditional sense. So um, I, I know that this is still very new and that you're going to have to probably figure it out as you go. But I'm curious if you have any ideas about how to manage that risk, how to help people understand which of these ideas might be more dangerous than others, which might be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So, yes, there is definitely that risk of essentially, here is the non-medical person essentially diving deep into the medical world, which is part of the reason why I want to start bringing in the doctors from the outside world, because there will be things that I will simply not be able to explain like well enough. So I'll give you an example, like DNA methylation. I understand it at this level, but there will be questions within the community that needs someone that really understands all of the enzymes, all of the hormones, and all of the molecules involved to actually figure out how all of these things interact together. So instead of me just, winging advice, which is not something that I want to do, it would make sense to actually bring someone that can help. Now, the one good thing is, like, I'm already stalking online a lot of these people that, are doing just actually amazing cutting edge science. So there is that. Another thing is there is actually a ton of research that is out there, but our public health service is just years and years behind. So unfortunately, but I think when you've got a health system which is there for the masses, that system is never going to be working with the cutting edge science. It's not built for that. So we have to be able to access technologies that are a little bit newer. Now, this is not to say that they are like literally, Jenny from the pub next door just decided to, I don't know, use nettle tea to cure cancer or whatever. But everything that I'm doing has actually got some research that is already out there. So that's one. And B, I'm actually quite familiar with working with the new technology in a veterinary field. So my previous business that we unfortunately had to shut down during the pandemic was bringing a brand new, well, not brand new, but again, relatively new technology into the veterinary world. So I know where, I know more or less where I need to be, not to get people into trouble and not to get myself into trouble, in terms of just overreaching, and where I would be making claims that are not backed up. So I'm trying to be as cognizant of what it is that we are actually doing as I can. And everything that I'm talking about, there is research there that I link to. People are more than welcome to actually go and read it if they want to, a little literature to help them fall asleep to, because these are not the most riveting reads. Uh, but that's basically what I'm trying to do. And part of the reason as well, which I think would be really good if there is more parents out there that are actually communicating, is that they can be actually saying, well, I've tried this, I haven't really had too much of joy with it, or we haven't really had too good side effect, or too good effects, if you like. That didn't really work. So by just sheer numbers of having more people in that community that are trying different things, it would be, I think, very, very good to share knowledge, for example. And if people are not happy to, I suppose, try new things, absolutely don't try it. Wait until I try it on my kid, and 5 other parents will try it on theirs, and wait until I bring the doctor and the parents that have actually been through this treatment to tell you about it before you try. Like, I completely understand that there will be different people with different attitude to risk. And that's absolutely fine. They can sit back, watch exactly what I'm doing, because I'm actually documenting what I'm doing. So there will be things that are not going to work particularly well, and learn from the mistakes, I suppose, and the successes of the parents that have sort of come before you.
Before we go, do you have any, maybe anything you would want to say to parents who have children who are diagnosed with autism, or perhaps for somebody who is thinking of creating a community around something like this that's kind of more experimental?
Okay, so let's sort of take it into two. For people that are thinking of creating communities out there that are a little bit different, is there might not be a recipe for what you're trying to make over there. So maybe find the closest recipe to the cake that you're trying to bake and go with it. But you will have to be able to trust your gut on many, many decisions. And brings me back to the previous point. Once you start getting people into the community, they will start telling you what it is that they need. And that then takes a lot of the points that you torture yourself at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the decisions that you spend like weeks to make, that will sort itself out, because those people will actually tell you what it is that they want. And for the parents out there that might have autistic kids, it's essentially that I completely reject, for example, the belief that there is absolutely nothing that we can do to help our kids. And I have already seen huge improvement in my son in the last 2 years. We don't have the self-harming behaviors, for example, anymore. His stimming recently has reduced quite drastically. And at the very, very least, what I would encourage them to think is to look for other comorbidities, if you like. So if your kid is also struggling with eczema or gut issues or things like that, to start thinking about whether the symptoms that they are looking at, whether it's their kid being autistic, or whether it could be the underlying medical health issues that autistic kids are disproportionately plagued with. There is something like 80% of autistic children have got gut issues with gut microbiome. That's like huge, huge percent. Something like 65, or I think 75%, I think 75% of autistic children have got mitochondrial issues with mitochondria when they got mitochondrial dysfunction. So the amount of energy that their cells produce to function is less than it should be.
Mm.
And all of these things will be affecting the brain.
Kat, your community is sounds like such an amazing project. I'm really, truly wishing you all the success for this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it evolves.
Thank you. Yeah, we will definitely need it.